Guys, good Wednesday afternoon. My name is Jerry Miller. Welcome to the I Love CVille Show. It's good to be with you. We're live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille Network. Fantastic program lined up. We have a distiller in Charlottesville expanding his operations to downtown CVille. That story for you. We have retail, food and beverage, and just taxes at a very low point in the city and the county. Neil Williamson has that story from the Free Enterprise Forum. We have Governor Northam from his press conference yesterday just basically saying, guys, we're going to throttle this back if you're not careful and COVID continues to spike. Governor Northam is also going to empower some local bureaucracies and some local organizations, some state-run organizations to act as a police across the Commonwealth and certainly in the Hampton Roads area where Hampton Roads is looking scary. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Virginia High School League and its three options for sports in the 2020-2021 school year. One thing we're not considering, a lot of the public school teachers in our school systems are also supplementing their yearly incomes by being a varsity soccer coach, a varsity football coach, an assistant football coach, a cross-country coach, a golf coach. You get money for coaching these teams as a head coach or an assistant. So I've heard from many public school teachers something that's not being considered is, guys, we make an extra $5,000 or $7,000 over the course of a school year just from coaching sports. So us not having sports is really going to hurt our take-home pay from a 10 to 15% standpoint because we're not going to get those wages for coaching sports potentially. So that story is going to come up for you on the I Love CVille Show. I got some data for you on how female-founded companies lag behind on valuations when compared to their male-dominated peers. COVID-19 is not only increasing the wealth gap, COVID-19 is not only impacting people of color at a much more negative rate than white people. Those are facts. COVID-19 is setting potentially a generation of female business women and female entrepreneurs and a generation of women looking to climb the corporate ladder in science, technology, engineering, math, and finance. It's setting them back. And the numbers are backing it up. And I'm trying to use this platform to educate everybody on what's happening. We're an advertising agency, 114 clients on our roster, two of our absolute favorites, Interstate Pest and Service Companies, and Dr. Scott Wagner of Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. Interstate's been doing this, guys, for 4 generations of family. I mean, since 1969. These folks are bona fide, they're honest, they're trustworthy, they're hardworking. They're a home's best friend. Interstate Pest and Service Companies. And Scott, I mean, Dr. Wagner it's physical therapy, chiropractic care, sports medicine, integrative medicine. Scott Wagner changing people's lives in Charlottesville, Virginia. Judah Wickhauer is our director. Again, my name is Jerry Miller. We're live on 12 Facebook pages, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. You have the opportunity to share your comments and perspective across any of these pages, whether it's the Facebook pages, the Instagram, the Twitter, and the LinkedIn, and we will relay that perspective on air. Ian is going to join us from Judah, Vitae Spirits and Distillery, is that right? Vitae Spirits Distillery. He's going to join us, Ian, in about 19 minutes to spotlight the expansion of his distillery to downtown Charlottesville. Great positive story. And, of course, the fairy godmother, Barbara Lundgren, is going to join us on the program in the 1 o'clock hour to give us a snapshot on the Virginia Wedding and Event Showcase that's exploding in popularity with this wedding and event community across Charlottesville and Central Virginia. Judah, let's get headlines. If you guys, before we get to headlines, do me this favor. Please, if you're watching now, I ask a small favor of you. Right now, hit the like button on any of these Facebook pages you're watching the show. Hammer the like button. Hammer it. Hammer the like button now, please. And better yet, share it. Thank you, Johnny, for sharing the show. I'm so grateful. Guadalajara, guys, Fry Springs, that family, absolutely phenomenal. All right, Judah, my friend, let's run some headlines. Let's go to the first one that I want to get to. The first one is something that I'm really, really concerned about, and I've been following closely. MPC 29, Richmond Public Schools, that headline, please. I'm also going to call it up on the screen behind me so we can make this even more dynamic and interactive. So, Judah, you have that headline up? You do? It's on screen? All right, fantastic. I'll read from over here as well. Richmond Public Schools, boys and girls, they fall, and they're falling faster. We told you Los Angeles Public Schools and San Diego, California Public Schools are going to a virtual model this fall. Virtual model. Richmond Public School Board has approved a fully virtual learning environment for the first semester. Look at the screen behind me, Judah, if you could. The school board approved the plan on Tuesday night. That was last night with an 8-1 vote after several hours of public comment. So the school board in Richmond is approving a virtual plan. The board discussed a total of 5 options. The plan they included or approved is a virtual learning environment for everyone for the first semester of the year. Richmond Public Schools. See it on screen. Right behind me. Approved. Plan E. Fully virtual for everyone for the first semester of the school year. This is going to continue to happen. This is going to continue to happen. This is going to continue to happen. I expect this now in City of Charlottesville and for Albemarle County schools. Parents, get ready. It's going to be a virtual learning environment. Questions you need to ask yourself now. Besides the obvious, who the heck is going to watch your kid while they're learning virtually, especially if you're a 2-parent household? The second question you have to ask yourself is the fall virtual learning, the virtual learning that's going to happen this fall semester, you got to hope as a mom and dad that it's better than the spring. Every mom and dad that I've talked to from a public and private school standpoint said the spring semester was virtually, pun intended, was virtually a wasted semester there, and their son or daughter learned nothing. So a couple of questions you ask yourself: is my kid going to learn something this semester virtually? Who's going to watch my kid as they're learning virtually? How is my kid going to get, if they're not going to learn virtually at home, how will they get to the place they actually do learn virtually? Will public school kids that are learning virtually be left behind by their private school peers because the private school students have a more in-person curriculum scheduled for the fall? Although the scuttlebutt, the rumor, the gossip, the hearsay, the chitter-chatter on the street has private school teachers mobilizing and galvanizing and very much concerned for their health and safety in the front lines of private school institutions across Charlottesville and Central Virginia. So, folks, another question I have, and this leads us into the Virginia High School League headline, Judah, which you can get on screen. If it's a virtual learning environment for the fall, we are already potentially doing the students a disservice. Yes, we're protecting their health. Yes, we're protecting the health of the parents that interact with the kids. Yes, we're protecting the health of teachers who are superheroes and rock stars. Yes, we're protecting the health of other folks that work for the school system because we're limiting human exposure and human contact in the hallways of schools. I get that. But the fatal flaw, the downfall, the concern, the trepidation, the potential generational setback with this plan is the lack of in-person interaction for youngsters. And this is California to Virginia now. Los Angeles, San Diego, Richmond, soon City and Albemarle County. The tea leaves say it. So you're losing the in-person interaction and the socialization that you get for being a kid when you go to school. The socialization, especially at the younger years, arguably even more important than the arithmetic. Sit, don't touch people, keep your boogers off of Jessica Pasco, don't pull your pants down in a classroom, don't hit anybody, learn to go to the bathroom, nap time, take a nap and keep your hands to yourself, drink from the water fountain, raise your hands in the air, yes sir, no sir, be a good person. I mean, that's critical, right? Okay, another question I can ask, and did you get the Virginia High School League headline on screen?
Virginia High School League.
Put the VHSL one on screen. I sent that to you last. I'll get it on screen as well. Guys, if we have a virtual learning environment, what happens to sports in public schools? The Virginia High School League and Billy Hahn Billy Hahn was the one-time principal at Monticello High School, now the executive director of the Virginia High School League. There are 3 models being considered by the Virginia High School League, which is the governing body of public school sports in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Model number 1, leave all sports in their current season. Sports considered low and moderate risk in the pandemic, such as golf and cross country, would be allowed to be played. High-risk sports like football, field hockey, and volleyball would not be played. Good Lord. Did you hear me? And you know what? I'll get it on screen behind us so we can read along with you guys. Go back to me, Judah, if you could, on camera. And then I'm going to just read this verbatim from the big screen behind me. Okay, I'm concerned, and I'm now concerned about with teachers from a earning money standpoint. So I got the Richmond Times-Dispatch behind me. Here are the 3 models. Judah, come to me if you could. All right, get that side panel back up. Come to me if you could. Okay, so option 1 on screen, leave all sports in their current season. If it's golf or cross country, individual sports, you're not around people really playing golf, playing 18 holes, or running a 5K. If it's individual sports, you see it on screen, they'd be allowed to play. High-risk sports where you're around other people, field hockey, football and volleyball, cheerleading, they would not be played. Okay? That is option 1 the Virginia High School League is considering. Option 2, are you ready? On screen. Switch the fall and spring seasons. Low and moderate risk sports allowed to play in the fall would be baseball, softball, soccer, tennis, track, and field. Boys and girls lacrosse, which is high risk, would not be played. So you take the spring sports, baseball, softball, soccer, tennis, and track, and you bring them and play them in the fall season. Lacrosse, boys and girls, would not be played because of the close proximity to people. Then there's option 3. Start play in mid-December with winter sports, followed by fall sports and spring sports, all compressed in a season. The winter sports would be basketball, gymnastics, indoor track, swimming and diving, and wrestling. They would start on December 14th and run to February 20th. Fall sports, football, cheerleading, cross country, field hockey, volleyball, would start on February 15th and run in a compressed season to May 1. Spring sports would start on April 12th and run to June 26th. I'm standing up, Judah. Studio cam, studio cam, studio cam. Guys, they're considering any and all options here. So, this option of starting in mid-December for high school public sports with basketball, gymnastics, indoor track, swimming and diving on December 14th and running it to February 20th? Okay, I get it. Then having the football, cheerleading, cross country, field hockey, golf, and volleyball go from February 15th to May 1, I get it. And spring sports, April 12th to June 26th. Here's the problem with the idea. So many kids play multiple sports. And in this scenario, if you happen to play basketball, football, and lacrosse, and a lot of people do, basketball, football, and lacrosse, you're pretty much be going December 14th to May 1, or excuse me, December 14th to June 26th without stopping. That is super tight. And that puts a hell of a lot of pressure on the student athlete in a very compressed setting, let alone the teacher. The teacher who's working as a coach to supplement his or her income, because teachers are freaking underpaid. They're coaching a sport to supplement their income. We're basically asking these teachers to be away from their family on sidelines coaching kids from December 14th to June 26th straight. That is intense. But you do what you got to do. So the Virginia High School League trying to save sports. The really concerning thing I have is these footballs and the football and the field hockey and the volleyball. we're this close in high school sports to football, field hockey, and volleyball, the fall sports that have a lot of interaction, and cheerleading, that's also included. There are 4 sports that the Virginia High School League is saying has a lot of risk. Football, field hockey, volleyball, and cheerleading. We're this close from those 4 sports being canceled for this school year. So, before I move on to another topic, I'm a cautious optimist. And let's go over here to this one, J-Dumps. This is how I'm seeing this. We live in a time in July of 2020 where the next generation of people, our kids, are already addicted to screens. They're already addicted to screens. And it's because they see mom and dad with an addiction to these screens, so they become addicted through watching what the parents do. Now we're saying, when we know a generation of kids are addicted to screen time, and we do not truly understand the long-term ramifications of this addiction. Fix that screen to my left, please. We do not understand the long-term ramifications of this addiction with kids because we don't have enough historical data yet. So we're basically saying, and I'm just throwing this out there, I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer. We're basically saying we know kids are addicted to screens. We don't have enough empirical data to understand what this addiction is going to do to the development mentally and physically, socially for these kids because of this addiction they have to screens. And yet, potentially for the next year, we're going to further their screen time, make their screen time more deep, more robust, more time in front of a computer. And at the same time, we're going to increase their screen time, learning online. We're going to potentially diminish, decrease, demoralize, depress, and downright remove in-person interaction with this same group of people in the classroom, in the hallway, and on the playing field. Folks, it's going to take years for us to truly understand the impact that this is going to have on our kids. We have a group of kids that's already addicted to screens, and we're saying for the next school year, for the health and safety of the community, and there's no right or wrong answer. I'm not judging. I'm having a conversation. For the next school year, we're going to give them more screen time and less human interaction. Eventually, if we continue down this path, we're going to have a society that communicates through text message, Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, and not in person. And in-person interaction is a freaking skill. And if you don't think it is, let's go to, can we just get that screen right so we don't have to keep looking at it, please? And let's go to the headline or to the graphic of the women-owned businesses and put that on screen. I'm going to show you what happens when you don't have face-to-face interaction. I'm going to give it to you at a macro level, and then I'm going to bring it down to a local and micro level. You have the graphic on screen? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a yes. So look at the graphic. This is women-owned businesses. Businesses and valuations based on a company that's female-founded, all female-founded versus male-founded. Look at the graphic, okay? The one that's lagging behind is the business that is owned by all female. The one that's trending the best is the business that's owned by all male. The one that's right in the middle is the business that's owned by both men and women. So companies that are all male-owned are valued by venture capitalists at a much greater or higher clip than companies that are all female-owned. These are facts. This is backed from a reputable source. If we limit face-to-face interaction today that will have a compounded impact. A compounded impact. You've heard of compounding savings and what compounding can do to wealth? How about compounding to social behavior and how women are perceived in science, technology, engineering, math, and finance? Earlier this week, I read to you and educated and passed along a Bloomberg report, and Bloomberg basically said women are being bypassed for jobs in science, technology, engineering, math, and finance now because they're not getting in-person FaceTime with their bosses. So the bosses that are oftentimes male in these male-dominated fields, whether consciously or subconsciously or freaking having no idea, men are getting promotions that women deserve. Folks, there's a serious ramifications that come with diminishing human interaction. Serious. There are folks on our team that I wouldn't want interacting one-on-one with clients. Okay? This is a big deal. And taking away team sports, an entire concept of working in a corporate business setting is a team sports mentality. You're only as strong as your weakest link. You have to interact and communicate. You win as a team, you lose as a team. You help pick up weakness on the team for the betterment of the team. A lot of concerns here. Let's go to the next headline, please. And the next one that I want to highlight today in the program is the headline from Neil Williamson and the Free Enterprise Forum. Then we'll welcome Ian to the program. So Neil is phenomenal. Neil Williamson, please come on the show. Free Enterprise Forum. Also big in wine and the wine and vineyard community. Well Hung Vineyards is Neil's. Neil, you're a good man. He looks at meals tax revenue and transient occupancy tax collections in Albemarle County in the city of Charlottesville. Specifically, the city of Charlottesville. Listen to this. Are you back on me here? Okay.
Yes.
City of Charlottesville. May 2020 meals tax collections. May 2020 meals tax collections. Roughly half the value of meals were served in 2020 when compared to the previous 2 years. In fact, I'm going to call it on screen behind me. Let's go to the big picture, and I'm going to go to the teacher board here. I feel like I'm in Mr. Gillespie, Ed Gillespie's calculus class. Ed Gillespie, do what you got to do, baby. One of the best lessons you've ever taught me. If you're still alive, Ed Gillespie, I got nothing but love for you, Ed Gillespie. Tourism activity, listen to this. Tourism activity for the area, according to Neil Williamson and the Free Enterprise Forum, is down 58%. Tourism activity is down by over 58% for March and April. Dudes, this is freaking ginormous and hugely impactful for our community. Let's look at what Neil has. Look at this graph. The green number, the green line, is this year. The green line is 2020. Okay? The green line is 2020. We'll put it back on screen right here for you. This is the start of Q2. This is when spring comes. March and April. What happened in 17, the orange line? What happened in 18, 19, the yellow line? And what happened now? At the start of Q2, the last 2 years they went up. Up is good. Now, they went down. Down is bad. Let's take it a step further. And then Ian, if you're watching, we're going to go to you because I think Ian and his fabulous business are going to help solve this problem. Vitae Spirits. Am I saying that right, Judah?
Vitae.
Vitae Spirits. Okay. Let's get that mic in front of you and turned on and the panel set up. Vitae Spirits, Ian. Vitae Spirits. Last thing before I go to Ian. Oh, Jesus. This is not good. This is Neil Williamson, Free Enterprise Forum. Looking specifically at the city of Charlottesville May 2020 meals tax collections. Roughly half the value of meals were served in 2020 when compared to the last 2 years. In May 2020, the city collected 50% less, about $1 million less when compared to 19 into 2018. Big deals here. Big deals here. Big deals here. So you have schools that are going virtually only, most likely, certainly for the fall. Richmond City, Los Angeles, San Diego. If I was a betting man, I am a betting man. City and county are going to go as well. You have students who already have a screen addiction, going to be spending much more time in the screen. You had the very real possibility of fall sports being canceled or moved to the spring. So you're going to limit social interaction with students and their peers. And you have a government that is hemorrhaging money for its fiscal 2021 budget. And you see the graph, it's not really getting better. What can help solve this issue is the Ians of the world. And I'm going to welcome Ian to the show now, Judah Wickower. I'm excited to have Ian. Skyping right now. This guy's a master distiller. He's a really smart man. I mean, he's extremely educated. This guy is extremely educated. I spent an hour with him on his first rodeo on the show, and I was just sitting next to Ian, and I was like, man, this guy is a breath of fresh air. He's got a big, beautiful brain. He's super brilliant, and he's a Renaissance man who has got one of the best distilleries in the Commonwealth. He's expanding his operation in COVID, which is a testament to him as a businessman as well. I have him on the line. Judah, I have his green light. Ian, you're live. You have a hell of a lot of people watching you here. First, let's do personal. Let's talk you first, and then we'll talk shop. What are you all about, dude? Who are you? What makes you tick? What are you passionate about?
Yeah, so honestly, I like making booze. I like drinking booze, too.
Me too.
I've had a passion for it ever since I was 18 or so. I'm a do-it-yourself kind of guy, so I started making all the booze myself back when I was 18. And yeah, we're kind of rolling with it. I used to be a professor over at the University of Virginia Med School and kind of had a midlife crisis that brought me to start building Vitae Spirits.
So Ian at 18 was making booze. At 18, I was making fake IDs to get the booze. So we both were entrepreneurial and innovative because we wanted to drink some booze. So we have a lot in common here. All right, tell us about the business, and then we'll talk expansion. First, a snapshot of the business.
Yeah, so we call ourselves a craft distillery. The word craft, quote unquote, has a lot of different definitions, sometimes used a little too loosely. But we have been certified craft by the American Craft Spirits Association, Distilling Institute. Really, what that boils down to is that it's small and personal, and really we focus on making super high quality stuff and also trying to offer stuff that's a little bit different that you can't get from the big international brands and everything like that. And in many ways, I'm trying to represent the community of Charlottesville in our products. I'd say 75% of our products are direct collaborations with Charlottesville businesses. We make a beer whiskey with Champion, Ace Biscuit and Barbecue grills sugarcane for our grilled sugarcane rum. I work with Dickey's Orchard down on Crabtree Fall Highways to make a damson gin. All these things. So all those things come together and help us represent Charlottesville, but also make us unique by this unique combination of the community here. We only have those products because of our neighbors and friends.
Your boy Andre Xavier's watching the show right now. He says, awesome. Ian is amazing. The man's company is absolutely fantastic. You have 4 different states watching the show in Charlottesville and Central Virginia flooding the broadcast. All right, sweet. So I see on Twitter, I forget what the exact word is here, but I see a piece of paper on Twitter. And it shows that your fabulous brand is expanding to Water Street because this piece of paper is on a door over there. Immediately, I reach out to you, and I'm like, dude, congratulations. This is freaking awesome. Walk us through it. What's happening here?
Yeah, so it's one of those things where some tough decisions needed to be made. we planned this a good year or so ago. So I got together with our board. We decided it was a wise move to make. Right now we're over on Henry Avenue in the Rose Hill neighborhood, which is great. We needed manufacturing zoning in order to do what we do, but it's a little bit off the beaten path. So like your average person won't just kind of stroll by over here. So trying to get more exposure, we started looking downtown where like that is the biggest kind of exposure spot we can find in Charlottesville for the most part. So we decided to expand. And I kind of raised all the funds. I recruited Alloy Workshop, our kind of design build guys over here on Rose Hill Ave, to build the place. We signed the contract, and then the pandemic hits. So in a sense, I was sitting on a decent amount of money that was dedicated to making this new tasting room on the downtown mall. But then revenues plummeted, and I really had to kind of make this hard choice about investing in our future, which is this downtown tasting room, or investing in the present. And honestly, I had to make the hard call to kind of reduce staff hours, to cut back production, so that I could invest that money basically in the downtown mall, which I see as our future. So it was a really tough decision, and really I hope it was the right decision in terms of kind of the lives of our employees, our dwindling inventory right now because we're not doing production because all that money's going into building the new tasting room. But I am hoping that I made the right choice and that we'll hit the ground running as the world starts kind of slowly opening up, and we'll be in a better position in the long run now because of it.
I appreciate the vulnerability and honesty that you just showed there. Can I play devil's advocate with you? I think you made you made a brilliant move. I think your spot on Henry and Rose Hill was a phenomenal location to start the brand. You had lower overhead. You're able to creep into the market, get your footprint and your brand in place. I love your liquor. Yep. I love your booze. I love your brand. The tough part with that location is you can't necessarily walk to it. So you got to drive to that location. I think with this tasting room on water, you're going to have people that spend a day downtown, half a day downtown. They can get the whistle wet like we all like to do at your spot, and then walk the mall.
Yeah.
I think you're going to crush it here, Ian.
Absolutely. There's so many upsides. It's amazing. I mean, because something I'm not sure if this ever came up in our previous conversations, but having a distillery license excludes us from making food. We are not allowed to make food. We were lucky to have Ace Biscuit and Barbecue right next door to us, but honestly, they moved a block away. Yeah, and that hurt us. So and that was part of this whole idea about going downtown is now we have all these awesome food places right next door, and literally we share a wall with Petite Mary Bette, and so we're going to have this great situation where people can bring in food. We're going to have a kind of other restaurants' menus in our tasting room and saying here's a selection of places within 100 yards of here. And we're right across the street from the farmers market if and when that opens up again. Darling and Quattro Tizzi and the Southern. We're super excited.
Dude, I think you're going to crush it. I think Charlottesville's going to rally around you. Is this the tasting room you're in now?
No, it's funny. There's someone in our tasting room.
Okay.
So I was going to talk to you from our tasting room, but it was getting loud and echoey and stuff. So I moved in the back, and you can see our bottling line behind us right now. So
throw this to you here. We're a platform of hope, but we're also realists, cautious, optimists. I ask everybody that comes on this show this question. When the pandemic first hit, Ian, what was going through your mind? I'm a business owner just like you. I have people that rely on me to pay their bills. When it first hit, I'll cut to the chase. Dude, I was so freaking scared.
Yeah, I agree. We were this close to completely shutting everything down. I had a plan to mothball basically until the end of the pandemic. We did get government help. We got the PPP, and we got an EIDL loan, and really that kept us running pretty well. We were in a pretty good position relative to, say, restaurants and stuff, too, because we were considered an essential business. And I've been pumping out hundreds of gallons of sanitizer, too, which I don't charge much for. I charge well below kind of the quote-unquote market rates. But we make a little bit of money off of that, so that kind of keeps the lights on and things of that sort. I have to hand it to the Virginia ABC. They started to allow us to do online sales, so we can do pickup, shipping, and local delivery now too, which really made things a little bit better than what I had originally feared. So
throw this to you. A lot of the restaurant owners and folks that are in the F&B space appreciate the innovation and the added leash that the ABC is offering now. Do we expect that added leash to stay when the pandemic is over? And also, as a second part of the question, what else does the ABC, this is me saying it, this is not you saying it, this is me saying it.
Yeah.
It has an antiquated, bureaucratic stigma to it for a reason.
Yeah. No, and so that's what regarding your first question about like what's going to stay, I think it's going to be a mishmash. Like I think the ABC is actually collecting data on us. So we actually have to submit data at the end of every month telling them exactly what we did with all these new abilities, like how much we shipped, how much we did delivery, things of that sort. Because I think they have been thinking about this for their business for quite a long time. And then as with many other things during the pandemic, it just accelerated basically the timeline on all these things. So I think to some degree they're using us as guinea pigs to see whether for them this model will work to kind of what will be kept, what will be spread out throughout Virginia and things of that sort. So I think it'll be a mismatch. We'll be able to keep some of those things, but probably some will go away also. The Virginia Distillery Association, which is kind of like the Virginia Distillers Guild, is actively working with the ABC, trying to get as many of those freedoms that we have tamed during the pandemic and trying to make those permanent for everybody's benefit, really, in the long run. The second question you asked was a criticism, I guess, of the ABC in terms of being antiquated. I think that's a just statement, but, and I'm not sure if you're aware of this, they recently changed their organizational model. They just became an authority about 3-ish years ago, and I don't completely understand what that means, but I was told just in a general allow them more flexibility to act more like a business. And I would say certainly within the last couple years, as I think they're starting to realize what the reorganization becoming an authority gives them, they're becoming much more dynamic. They are responding much better. I'm very happy that they were kind of going that direction as the pandemic hit, so that they had the wherewithal and the attitude to basically see it's an emergency situation and kind of say, devil be damned, we're going to let you do this stuff and then we'll deal with it later or something. I have to hand it to them for that. They really did help us, and they helped us stay open in a lot of different ways.
I have to hand this to you. You were obviously IQ off the charts, but you communicate in a way that is approachable.
Thank
and
you.
It's not always the case with people as smart as you. You have questions coming in. Can I throw questions from viewers
sure.
to you? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is from Barbara Lundgren, Virginia Wedding and Event Space. She's an event planner. She says, I love you. She says, I'm so proud of you. She wants to talk shop, and she wants to know about your event space and whether it can fit anybody in the wedding community.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly can, but I would say we do have limited spacing. In both of our locations, really, we're at that like 49-person limit. The Henry Avenue location is not so much legally occupancy limited because we have a very high occupancy, but it's square footage limited for public space. The one downtown, which we're renting, just basically the city definition of occupancy keeps us down below 49 in that location because we have one bathroom. And that's kind of the limiting thing. But that's certainly appropriate for a number of situations. Maybe not a formal sit-down dinner, but it'd be fine for like a cocktail hour or something of that sort. And it's great for birthdays and holiday parties. And it's going to be a really pretty space. We're just finishing up construction right now. We're kind of putting on, like we're doing the paint and buying the furniture and stuff like that. And we certainly we wanted it to be kind of on the same level as our Henry Ave location, which has actually won architecture awards and stuff for its design, and it's a very pretty and attractive place in kind of the contemporary sense.
And correct me if I'm wrong, because this is part of another question that's coming in from Grace. She's watching in Richmond. She and her husband routinely make trips to Charlottesville, and she says she's visited your spot. She wants to know, are you keeping Henry Avenue? It sounds like you are. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, you actually own that space. And then the second part of her question is, what's the thinking with two so close to each other? And then I'm going to add something to it. Is Ludwig is the landlord?
Yeah. Oh, no. It's MSC.
Okay.
Is the name of the company. Yeah.
MSC. Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, so you answered
Yep.
one of the questions. What are the other two parts?
Right. Okay. So in the long run, we plan on having both open. In the immediate term, because of resources, basically we're going to do a soft opening of the downtown location, kind of see the level of traffic that we're getting. But in theory, our entire company will be working there, including our assistant distiller, me, our part-time lady, Susie, and TJ, our tasting room manager, until we get a feel for what the absolute demand is there. Once we get that feel, I'll be actually hiring, because I don't want to be working there during the week. I have so many other things to do. Our assistant distiller does. But basically, we'll be hiring to basically staff up that place. Once we're convinced that that place is solid and ready to go for our grand opening, a portion of the crew will come back to the Henry Ave tasting room, and we're always going to keep that open because we have tours. We have like basically this is the place where it all happens. So I'm never going to let it go completely. It's just that I think based on business, we'll probably have a little bit more emphasis downtown, and perhaps the Henry Avenue thing will kind of be more like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday type of place. Which also means that the Henry Avenue one is much more open for events and stuff like that, because it won't be difficult for scheduling and stuff, because it'll be a little bit more open in that regard. So that's the plan for kind of the two locations. What was the other question?
No, I think you just answered it. Is why have them so close? And you basically said we have a captive audience downtown.
Yeah. Well, and also there's federal law too. So this is getting a little bit technical, but in order to have a tasting room in Virginia, it has to be a distilled spirits plant. It has to be a distillery. And at the federal law level, I can basically tack on another distillery on my current federal license if it's within a 10-mile radius. Huh. I don't have to go through the whole damn process building another distillery in the eyes of the federal government if I have a non-contiguous building.
Interesting.
So basically, at the federal level, I say I have a non-continuous building or like another location for this same distillery. It's 0.9 miles away. So just at the legal level, it was a lot easier for me to have something pretty close by rather than thinking of a totally different or something like that. And so I actually don't doubt that there'll be a little bit of cannibalism between the two spots, but that's why I think I'm going to try to develop a different personality for the two. Downtown kind of being more, come have a cocktail, hang out, whereas the distillery on Henry Ave will be kind of more for like the geek level people that are really into the distilling part of it, so we can have hands-on tours and people can do things, have classes, stuff like that.
I love it. That was a good answer. All right, we'll close on this. This guy's killing it. Throw this question to you. Downtown.
Yeah.
I have skin in the game downtown.
Yeah.
On a good chunk of a building, as you know, down here. I'm nervous.
Yeah.
This is the heartbeat of Charlottesville. Okay.
Absolutely.
Businessman and entrepreneur and visionary, you.
Yeah.
Downtown. Talk to me here. What are you seeing?
I mean, obviously it took years and years to build up where we were at pre-pandemic. It's obvious it's gonna take a knock. I don't know. I'd say in a future scenario where bang, we have the perfect vaccine, the whole world gets vaccinated, I think it would probably bounce back pretty quickly. But if it's this long, slow, drawn out, going to phase 3, going to phase 2 because things get bad, whatever, that's going to take a long time to get back to where we once were.
Is that what you think it's going to play out? Do you think it's going to play out that way?
My best guess is going to be long and drawn out. I mean, even if we get a good vaccine, the execution is difficult. There's going to be people that the vaccine is not going to work on. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I spent 20 years working on vaccines.
Oh my gosh, I didn't. Okay, please. I should have started with this. I forgot. Okay, go down this road then.
No, so it's been in the media fair enough that vaccine is not a given. I mean, actually, a fair amount of my research was on vaccines that quote unquote looked good, but they were not protective. So you can have things that produce tons of antibodies, like put a vaccine that makes lots of antibodies, but still doesn't protect you. Vaccines are complicated, and there's still ancient scourges that we still don't have vaccines for. For the common cold, our tuberculosis vaccine sucks. The dengue vaccine makes you more sick if you get dengue for a second time. So a vaccine is not a slam dunk. We can hope, and I think it's most likely to be fine. But I don't think we can say 100%, even a year from now, that the world's going to be vaccinated and this whole thing will be gone. I think it's probably going to be somewhere in between. And that means long drawn out, and we're just going to have to adapt our behavior to protect ourselves rather than relying on a vaccine or a particular therapy.
Okay, so follow-up question on this then, and I wish you're killing this. Follow-up question is this, is then do we then have to just change our mindset and say, we have to live with this. We can't be scared. Okay, I'm not trying to marginalize anyone here. I get in trouble for saying this. My wife in particular here, okay? We can't be scared of, we have to be aware of it. We have to understand the impact that COVID can have. But living in fear is going to set us back even more, I fear.
Yeah, no, and the longer we live in fear, the more damage it does too. And it's a horrible situation. I mean, everyone knows that, but yeah, there becomes a point where honestly I start thinking that we could be doing more damage to ourselves by being closed that long. I mean, the people are dying from cancer, the people are dying from heart attacks, the kids that aren't learning, the people that are not going to the doctor because they aren't making any money. All those things add up, and they're actually more difficult to quantify than the numbers that we see rising every day from COVID-19. And it's a friggin' hard world to make that decision in. So, but that kind of is the reality of it.
Laura Stevenson, we'll close on this. Ian, I love your spirits. We're going to be there for your grand opening. When is the grand opening downtown? Yeah,
so we're aiming for soft opening early August. We're doing soft because I'm sure there's lots of things we're going to get wrong. We have to fix, blah, 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 blah. I'm hoping for September. So September is Virginia Spirits Month. So that's when normally there's all these big kind of like festivals and things of that sort, which are less likely to happen this year. But I'm hoping like we'll have something big in September. It's the middle of a pandemic, so we're going to have to get creative, perhaps like selling tickets so that we only have X number of people in there at a time, or have it multi-days, like having whatever special cocktails over a week-long period rather than a single night or something. But so we're hoping in September, in celebration of Virginia Spirits Month, that we'll have the grand opening.
I want to thank you for all of us downtown for bringing your brand downtown. We need so much energy and life and vibrancy and people willing to take a chance. And I think you're going to crush it. Crush it.
Thank you. I'm crossing fingers as many times as I can. So.
Thank you for joining us, dude.
Absolutely. Thanks again for inviting me too, Jerry. I think you're doing a great thing. I'm glad you're having these discussions that need to be made.
Thank you, man. You have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Ian killed it. We're going to support his business 100%. I 100% love anyone that is willing to expand and continue moving forward in a pandemic. Judah, I'm going to reach out to Barbara Lundgren. We have her on the line very soon. Barbara Lundgren is on the line. If you can give me a green light. We have the fairy godmother ready to go. The fairy godmother is excited. All right, I'm getting the green light from Judah. How about, before we start, Barbara, how about a little Ian right there and what he's doing?
I love Ian. He is great. I mean, it was the first venue he had there. It was wonderful. I can't wait to see the new one.
Henry Avenue, that's right. It was wonderful. So, my friend, how are things going?
You stole one of my guests, Jerry.
What's that?
You actually stole one of my guests.
I'm sorry.
He was on my list, okay?
I'm sorry, Barb. We should still welcome him back. I'm sorry, Barb. All right, my friend, what is going on in your world? What's new?
Oh, well, so last week we talked about the health department a lot, right?
That's right.
So I've been on the horn with the health department a lot. So they're going to join us tomorrow.
Get out.
Yeah.
Nice guest.
So Catherine Goodman, who is a spokesperson for the Thomas Jefferson Health District, is going to join us. We are juggling around a few things to try to get a second person with the health district, with the health department. And we had some changes this morning, so we might have another surprise. I don't know. You know how I am with your surprises.
I like your surprises. I love this lady. So what, okay, did you watch The Governor yesterday?
I did.
Okay, so is that, what does it do for wedding and events? with what he's saying. Now, he didn't say clear cut, this is what we're going to do. He basically said he's the parent, the kids are acting up, and says, if you don't straighten up, I'm going to put you in timeout.
These are the questions that, we timed my call with the health department yesterday. I was on the phone with 4 people, and we timed the call to watch the governor first. So we're going to talk about it tomorrow.
Okay, she's got a scoop tomorrow. If you're in weddings or events, tomorrow, 10:15 a.m., the Virginia Wedding and Event Showcase has answers for you.
And if you are a vendor, a venue, send me your questions ahead of time so we can be ready for you, because there might be some questions out there that they're not quite ready for. So I'd like to have those ahead of time.
I love it. Ian says, thank you. Just put it on the feed to you, Barbara. All right, keep talking to us. You got a lot of folks watching you here. What else do we need to be thinking about?
We had a really successful wedding at Keswick Vineyards over the weekend.
Okay.
They had a great time. The guests were happy. The bride and groom were happy. So they had a successful time. And this coming weekend, we have one coming up at King Family that we're watching. And so far, so good. We're doing well.
Barbara, you seem, and you're always this way, but you seem like you're chipper, you're good headspace, mental health is good. Am I reading this right?
It depends on the moment.
Okay, so I caught you in a good moment?
We're all in that place, Jerry.
I love this lady. Okay, so tomorrow, recap before we let you go. Tomorrow, 10:15, here's what we can expect. What can we expect?
We will be talking about talking with Catherine Goodman, and I've already sent them a list of questions. We've been talking at length already this week, and they have a list of questions we're going to talk about. But I do emphasize, send me more questions if you have them out there, because what has happened in the industry is that Governor Northam put us out in phase 3. And the 47-page guidelines did not address weddings and events. And so that led to phone calls to the health department all over the state. There are 30-some districts in the state, and no one was on the same page. And it led to some panic. It led to lots of miscommunications and mixed messages and all of that. And we're trying to bring that all together and work as a team. And Catherine and her team were very much on top of that yesterday, that we all pulled together as a team.
That's going to be a good show, guys. Some news, some hard news on Barbara's show tomorrow at 10:15. Barbara, thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
I'll see you mañana, okay?
Okay, right. See you in the morning.
Bye, Barbara. Barbara Lundgren, guys, the fairy godmother, the star of the Virginia Wedding and Event Showcase, 10:15 a.m. tomorrow on the I Love CVille Network. Wedding venues. If you're on the supply chain in weddings, florists, DJs, bands, officiants, caterers, wedding planners, makeup, whatever it is, tents, audiovisual, tomorrow, 10:15 a.m., Barbara Lundgren, Barb Wired has knowledge for you, 10:15 a.m. tomorrow on the Virginia Wedding and Event Showcase. Ian has this to say. He just joined us on the show. We're live on 12 Facebook pages. We're live on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. He says, boys and girls, overall, the downtown satellite tasting room will have similar aesthetics as Henry Avenue, but will be a little more of a lounge-like feel, couches and etc. I love that, Ian. I love having downtown. It'll be about going to the farmer's market, having a cocktail beforehand, wetting the whistle, and then being able to walk to the Whiskey Jar or Citizen Burger Bar for some food. It's going to crush it, Ian. You're going to crush it. Crush it downtown. I believe that. Give it a like, give it a share. Ian says this to you, Barbara. Barbara rocks. Glad to see her smiling face. It's been way too long. Ian, you're getting love from Camille Anderson. She says, heart emoji, heart emoji, heart emoji. I love Ian. This is from Camille Anderson. Olivia Branch also giving you some love as well. All right, we'll close the show on this. Gary Grant sent this to me. Gary Grant, I love love when you send content for this show. And Gary Grant, the majority of time, and I'm talking 99% of the time, we feature the content you send us on the show. He wants us to discuss Dean Groves of UVA blasting UVA students because of their partying ways at Midsummers. Get the headline from the Cavalier Daily up really quickly, and I have a conference call, a Zoom call in 3 minutes. So I'm going to do this quick. Ladies and gentlemen, here's what basically happened. Is the headline on screen, Judah? It is on screen. Cavalier Daily got their hands on an email from the Dean of Students, okay? And the Dean of Students was sent photos. And these photos were of UVA students partying all over grounds, partying all over houses and fraternity houses and private houses. Midsummers, it's a time between the first semester of summer and the second semester of summer. When I went to UVA, I never returned home, okay? I left for first year at UVA. I stayed Christmases, I stayed summers, I just stayed. And midsummers at UVA, and I'm a guy that loves to get after it. I love to party. I love good food and drink. I work my tail off. I work 70 hours a week. When I'm not working 70 hours a week, and I've done it for the last 12 years as a business owner, when I'm not working 70 hours a week, I'm getting after it. Okay, now I've tamed down since I have a wonderful, beautiful wife and a 2-year-old that has my heart. I mean, this kid smiles and I freaking melt already. Okay, but before my wonderful wife and before my wonderful 2-year-old, okay, I was getting after it. And Midsummers at UVA is one of the best parties at the school. And boys and girls, photos circulated, got back to the dean's office, the dean of students. He sends an email to students, and he basically says, if you guys want in-person school, you better stop this nonsense. Cavalier Daily picks up the article. So this gives ammunition and firepower to Mayor Nikia Walker when Mayor Walker says, I don't want students on grounds in Charlottesville this year. And I said, good God. Do you understand the impact that this is going to have on GDP and the local economy if we turn our back on students and 25,000 people with mommy and daddy's credit card? But she has more leverage now. 18 to 22-year-olds that are already in town are not obeying and paying attention to social distancing. And that will lead to the spread of COVID among locals in the community, and that terrifies me. We'll talk about that tomorrow on the I Love CVille Show. Ian, you killed it. Barbara, you killed it. 10:15 a.m. tomorrow, guys, for the Virginia Wedding and Event Showcase. My name is Jerry Miller. I love you guys. Have a good afternoon.